Hi everyone, my name is Mai Xiong and I'm one of the career coaches with our student life and career design team. Today we're going to be talking a little bit about international student job and internship search. I know this is a really a topic that covers a lot of different things, and so I'm going to touch on some of the highlights for the job and internship search as an international student. Here are some of the top questions that we often see from our students when they meet with us is where can I find internships and jobs, what companies hire international students, and then we'll talk a little bit about just like tips and what you do after you receive an offer. And so if you see this slide right here, these four resources are some of the resources that you can use to look for jobs or internships. Specifically for Handshake, this is the resource that we recommend our international students to use because it has that filter that accepts CPT and OPT. So compared to the other ones that don't have it, Handshake has this option that students could utilize. And then additionally, it's also really important to identify the companies that are willing to hire international students. So part of that is that when we look at the resources that we have, the International Student Key Career Info Guide will be a really great resource to use, as well as the Career Services website. And particularly the employment data from both of these resources will be really helpful because it will show you what employers have hired international students from Carlson and from the U of M in the past. And then additionally, Going Global is also another really great resource that students can utilize to find companies that have sponsored students in the past. And the reason why we recommend these resources is because if a company has a history of sponsoring or hiring a student in the past, there may be a chance that they are willing to do that again in the future. Some things to keep in mind as you're thinking about looking at a different company is that hiring practices are not always congruent across the internship, full-time roles, functional areas, or year to year. What this means is that even if a company is willing to hire an intern, an international student for an internship position, that doesn't mean that they will be willing to hire for a full-time role. And then just because that company is willing to hire this year, that doesn't mean that next year they'll hire an international student for that particular role. So sometimes there are things that could happen that determines whether that company is willing to hire an international student for that role or even for that particular year. So that's something to just kind of make note of. And you may also want to check with the company as you're applying to kind of see what their hiring practices is for that particular year. And then as you're applying for different jobs and internships, these three questions may come up in the application process. So I want you to take a look at this page and as you're applying for jobs to notice what information you should put in that will be the correct information as you are identifying yourself as an international student and what will be appropriate. And then some tips to really maximize your success is that you have access to career services. And so you can always meet with a career coach, a peer career coach to look over any of your application materials, as well as polishing up your interview skills. So for those of you that would like some more grammar support or whatnot in your writing, the Writing Center will also be a really good resource for that. And then another important thing to think about is how do you want to build relationships with employers? So you may want to also think about how you want to network with employers, with alumni, staff and faculty to really build on those relationships and have access to more opportunities that could come your way. And if you see something you're interested in, it doesn't hurt to try. You never know if that company will be willing to hire an international student until you apply and until you talk to them and build those relationships. And then after you receive an offer, some things to think about is that for internships, you want to make sure that you submit your CPT application. So internships, you are required to have CPT. And for jobs, you are required to have OPT. So make sure that for any of that you submit those requests in on time. And more information can be found on the ISSS website. And then lastly, like I said before, we are here to support you. So you can always meet with a career coach. Our website has a ton of resources to support your job internship search, as well as any other additional resources that you might need. And then under the description box for this video, there will be additional resources for any resources for jobs or internships that you might want to look for.